Are you going through a very Chinese time of your life? A popular online trend has seen people adopt elements of everyday Chinese lifestyles and even declare that they are becoming Chinese. At the same time, China's unilateral visa exemptions have made it easier for those who wish to come to China. In 2025, China welcomed 41 million visitors since extending its visa-free transit program up to 10 days, marking a 27% increase year on year. Travelers using the transit visa program jumped by 60% compared with pre-policy levels. So why has China suddenly become so cool? How are these trends changing China's perception globally? And is this just a fad or the beginning of a new trend? Welcome to The Point with me, Liu Xin, an opinion show coming to you live from Beijing. I'm pleased to be joined from the Chinese capital by Asma Darwish, Tunisian host and journalist of China Arab TV. From Zhongshan, southern China, by Jerry Gray, an Australian social media influencer who has lived in China for 20 years. Also from the Chinese capital by Ekaterina Kaligayeva, a Belarusian social media influencer. And here in the studio by Rong Ying, senior research fellow at the China Institute of International Studies. The warmest welcome to all of you. So to explain a little bit what exactly the whole thing is all about, well, a Chinese-American social media influencer by the name of Jerry Ray. She started posting videos about Chinese tutorials about everyday Chinese habits and hashtag becoming Chinese. She started doing that in late last year, and within 2 months, her series of more than 20 videos about a practical guide about becoming Chinese averaged 1 million views each video, and a lot of people all of a sudden became fan of Chinese habits, and millions of them jokingly declared that they are becoming Chinese. Now, what they started doing are things like, mundane Chinese habits of drinking hot water or cooking soups and porridges, or wearing slippers at home and practicing Ba Duan Jing, which is an ancient Chinese wellness exercise or a form of Tai Chi or shadow boxing, if you will. So let's talk about it. Asma, let me get to you first. You have lived in China for quite some time. How Chinese are you? And help us understand what exactly is going on here.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yeah.
My name is Asma. I am a TV host and a journalist in China Arab TV. I am from Tunisia, and nice to meet you, all of you. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm so happy to be here with you today on the Point Show. It's a real pleasure to share my journey, my experience with all of you.
Great. So what Chinese habits have you picked up, and how do you look at the phenomenon that there are millions of social media fans claiming they want to be Chinese?
Of course, I've noticed even myself adopting some Chinese habits without realizing it. So becoming like, for example, I starting drinking hot water whenever winter or summer, which is very common here. And the Chinese way of life is more community focused, while back home it's more individualistic. But I've started appreciating the importance of family and community here in China, and I can even myself so I see another like peoples who also adopt the life here in China, so becoming like practice every day the habits in China, and make it sure to understand the culture here in China. So even me, I realized and I noticed everyone here who spend a lot of time in China, who now want to be Chinese in habits in everything. So that's I can say China here has so much depth to explore, and as a foreigners, we really want to more understand and to more practice this. this stuff.
Very interesting. Jerry, you have lived in China for 20 years, as I said. What triggered this new wave? We're seeing the China travel rush, for instance, starting from the beginning of last year when a series of new policies actually were rolled out to make travel to China easier. And then there is this social media trend about becoming Chinese. What triggered all of this?
I think a lot of this is due to the economy. Chinese economy has picked up, and we're seeing a reversal of what happened about 50 years ago when so many Chinese people wanted to be more American. It's turning around the other way now, and Westerners are looking at China and saying, well, I like that style. I like the lifestyle they've got. I like what they have. And I mean, as well as the history and the culture, there are some very unusual habits. I shower at night now instead of in the morning, which was a very particular Chinese thing to do.
On top of drinking hot water. On top of drinking hot
Yeah.
water.
On top of drinking warm water. Well, when you think about it, when your body is very hot, in the West, we would automatically drink cold water, but the body has to process that cold water and bring it up to body temperatures. So it actually does make sense. And when you start to see how these things make sense, then you start to realize that actually could work for me. And Tai Chi is a perfect example for particularly older people to actually get off their butts and do some exercise without straining themselves. But it really does work. So, a lot of people are doing that now. 15 minutes a day is enough. So I'm seeing a lot of that. And a lot of my followers, my subscribers, are actually Chinese diaspora who are telling me the same kinds of things as well. This is what their neighbors are doing. This is what they're doing. So it's not just a fad. It's definitely a changing trend.
So fascinating, and it puts a smile on my face because it's rather funny. But Ekaterina, let me ask you, why these things? For instance, warm water or hot water, soups, porridges, changing shoes, and practicing Tai Chi. Why these kind of stuff that really fascinate foreigners particularly?
I think it's a great question. Thank you so much. First of all, before we used to see all of these Western practices dominating the social media. For example, diet, fitness, yoga, gym. And now people are seeing that there are different ways of living life and living a healthy lifestyle and maintaining wellness. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to be part of that culture and to experience those rituals. You can literally just go on the street and start practice Baduanjin or Tai Chi, or even do some exercise at home or while you're traveling on a high-speed railway here. You can see how the aunties and uncles are practicing and moving their body. And it's shocking to see because before, people in Europe or in Eastern Europe, Russia, haven't been exposed to this. So they're so fascinated that there are so many ways to take care of yourself and to exercise that don't require a lot of money, a lot of resources. And they're seeing that it's very, very different. And I think it's also a great motivation for people from non-Western countries to go and seek for their roots, to go and look for their rituals in their culture, which are very different from those in the West. So I think people are actually paying attention to that and seeing, wow, this is what Chinese people, how they take care of themselves, and it's very different from what we see here in the West. It's just a very different way, a different philosophy, and I think it's also a very human way to show that we can be different and we can practice these things in a very different way.
Very interesting. You certainly shed light on the reasons behind it. I'm also curious very much. But I also mentioned the visas. For instance, China has definitely gone a long way, stepped out of its way basically to make travel access to China much easier. Mr. Rong, what are we seeing? Because not only there is growing interest of becoming Chinese, but there were also this interaction among netizens, for instance, between TikTok, which is largely overseas platform, and the Chinese social media platform of Red Note, Xiaohongshu, for instance. And there were a lot of conversation about how your life is on the other side of, the border, let's say, the invisible border. And there's also the visa, right, which made travel much easier. So what is going on here?
Well, definitely, we have seen that a lot of changes, not only I think online, which is easier with the development of social media, and of course the Xiaohongshu, the Red Note, which incidentally I think helped the world actually to have better access to what is happening in China. Well, the visa sort of issue is definitely a very important step by the Chinese government to respond. And most importantly, I think to embrace that development. And also, I think in the sense that China shows that the Chinese people are very much committed to opening up itself under the new circumstances, and also to show confidence about that openness. And last but not least, I think readiness to share, to open up and to share the opportunities and the benefits, which are of course going to be on a mutually beneficial basis of the development of the economic and the social development to the outside world. And this is very much so in the context, of course, after the pandemic. So started with the I think early 2023, followed up, expanded, ever expanding or more simplified the visa implication up to the unilateral sort of visa exemptions, and of course plus the facilitation, simplification, and mutual or reciprocal elements, arrangement on the question of the visa. That's why we have seen growing numbers of visitors or visits by foreign nationals coming by this arrangement, and which is very much important and helps a lot in terms of the development I think we are talking about.
I want to go back to Asma because you certainly belong to the Gen Z generation. And just now you mentioned a word which is very interesting, communal. Talk to us more about this word and why you find it particularly remarkable, what you found here in China. And do you find it cool, the Chinese way of life?
I want to say, being here in China, it's a big challenge for me. Sometimes it was not easy, and I felt nervous and unsure. There were moments when I missed home a lot, but little by little, I think things changed. I started to learn the language, adapt the culture, and make friends. Slowly, I found myself enjoying daily life here. What I once found difficult became exciting. China
Can you give an
stopped feeling like
example, maybe?
uh, when I came, I don't know, my Chinese is not enough good. When I want to practice Chinese, I'm afraid to speak with the Chinese people. Maybe when I want to even to buy coffee something, I'm really I have how to say. There is afraid. There is I'm
Fear.
not like someone. Yes, is there cool? Is there friendly? How they are? I don't know. It's really seems like I'm in a strange country. But after when I realized Asma China of course has some another good side. So little by little things change, which means with my teachers, study together with the other foreigners, with my Chinese friends, and when I started the language, to be honest, it's makes the life more easier,
Yeah.
because when you speak Chinese, you will and you learn the culture, the history, you will have an idea about the country where you are.
Yeah.
So you will make the obstacles more easier. So slow down, I found myself enjoying daily life here in China. What I once found difficult become as I said, exciting. China stopped feeling like a foreign country and slowly become a second home for me, really.
Yeah.
So
Great.
this experience taught me a lot. about myself, to be more independent, open-minded, and patient. It helped
Great.
me to see the world in a completely new way. And
Great.
it made me appreciate the small, beautiful moments in life. And I want to thank you, all the Chinese, my friends that I know them, because they helped me a lot. And until now, they still give me a lot of encouragement, support. Asma, you can do it. Asma, you are here in China. Don't be afraid. So yeah, the Chinese people, they are so kind, and 谢谢他们.
Oh, so sweet. It's so heartwarming and it really touching for me to hear all of that. I'm really happy that you're having a good experience, a positive experience here in China.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm happy. Every time I hear a foreigner suffering in China, I'm like, oh, what can I do? When I hear a happy story, I'm really happy. I know the Chinese are a good, warm-hearted people, like every people in the world, honestly. But Jerry, let me come to you. I think there's something that Asma touched upon here, which is really the Chinese people, and it's not about some big grand narrative that someone's trying to present to you. It's the little things in life. It's the small stand. It's the small eatery. You know, it's the passerby, and it seems that it's this peer-to-peer interaction that are coming to the fore here, and that is the world we're talking about, Jerry.
Yes, I would agree entirely with Asma. When I first came here, I didn't like China at all. I came here with very deep perceptions that were completely wrong, and I found out quite quickly. It took me probably 2 or 3 months. It took me hours, literally hours, to find out I'd been misinformed about China. It took me 2 or 3 months to kind of settle in and say, I actually do like this place. There was a lot of being on guard at the time. I was very wary about all the things that I thought might go wrong, and none of them did. And by the time I realized that, I realized that it was the people. It is the individual people. It's not a collective of Chinese people. It is individual. As you know, I've cycled across China. The first time I did this in 2014, my Chinese language was barely functional. And I went with another foreigner who didn't even know how to count to 10. So he and I taught him how to count to 10 as we're riding across Hubei. And when we were doing this, so many times we stopped. And in those days, we would get maps out. So we'd have a map out. And almost every time, somebody would come to us and say, are you lost? Is there anything I can do to help you? And help us. And often it was in Chinese. And we kind of sign languaged our way through it. But it certainly helped develop my Chinese skills a little bit. I'm still functional and not fluent by any method. But it was individual acts of kindness that add up to a complete community of very friendly, very helpful, very kind people.
Yes.
That's my experience of China. And that's why I like China so much and why I support it so much. Not so much the government. The government doesn't need to do anything for me. The people do all the time.
Su Xiaoxiao, I'm calling Ekaterina by your Chinese name on social media. You are an internet celebrity here in China and do a lot of stuff in Chinese. You speak perfect Chinese. Just now I hear you count from 1 to 10. I couldn't recognize whether there was any ounce, iota of foreign accent here. How do the Chinese view all of this, that their culture all of a sudden becoming so popular among people in faraway lands? Even drinking warm water, hot water, this small thing, we don't even pay attention to it, and it seems that it's gone viral. What is your perception of their perception of what's going on here?
As someone who has been living in China for the past 7 years, and my work is related to introducing the real China to the world and being the bridge between my country and China, I'm very proud to see this trend. And I think that the China travel and this new visa-free policy has actually encouraged this trend a lot. And I'm so happy to see the Chinese people being culturally confident, 文化自信, and showing China to the world. I think this trend of many foreigners coming to China has encouraged Gen Zers like me and many Chinese people all over the world to go and show their traditional culture and to be like, hey, we are Chinese and our voice needs to be heard, whether it's social media, whether it's traditional media, or just, being a Chinese person living abroad. And I think it's great because, part of the Chinese traditional culture is being a little modest, as Chinese people say, 含蓄. It's not about showing yourself off. But now I really like this change and this trend shifting towards learning how to speak up for yourself, and learning how to represent Chinese culture to the world in different languages on social media. So and this is what Gen Z are really good at. They're good at showing themselves, they're good at showing their skills, and raising their voice. And this is what we've seen particularly very well on Chinese social media platforms. Whether it's on Chinese media platforms and Instagram, TikTok, etc. So I think it's a very important trend, and it shows that China is not only about traditional culture like Kung Fu, Bruce Lee, and Great Wall. It's also living, breathing culture like drinking hot water and always having a thermos with you, or eating porridge for breakfast, or soaking feet in hot water, or going for a Chinese massage to feel better. I think it's about those details that really make a difference.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, in the past, we'll be like, yeah, how do I become more modern? By that we mean, how do we become more westernized? But now,
Exactly.
yeah, now it seems there's no. We're not embarrassed about being Chinese. We love drinking warm water, hot water, and we're going to do it. And Mr. Rong Ying, how much of a factor is the confidence in the modern day Chinese playing out here? I think Su Xiaoxiao touched on a very important point. If we're not proud of our way of life, people are not going to come and try to emulate us or imitate us. The fact that we are just the way we are and we're not afraid of showing it, we're not hiding it, becomes more attractive, isn't it?
Very much so. I think this is very much related to the question of confidence is very much related to the question of openness and the commitment to show, to demonstrate that the real full picture of China, of what is China is happening. I mean, the history, the civilization, which is very well known. But what we are having, or what I think China has shown, which I'm very much pleased and impressed by the panelists, which I believe that they represent those foreign, nationals living in China, enjoy, share their experience, is the result of that confidence. Having said that, of course, I would also like to be a little bit cautious as a Chinese.
As a Chinese, we're always cautious.
Right, and modest, to be modest in a way that China is a big country, huge diversification. And so even on the question of drinking warm water, hot water, porridge, and others, playing Tai Chi or Ba Jin Duan, I would say Badanjing, exactly. I'm sorry. It's not every Chinese do like that, I think. But of course, they pick up the defining features. There are many, of course, that don't drink warm water. For example, my son, he does not drink warm water.
Not every Chinese is drinking warm
water. Right, yes. So the only thing is that I would, which I guess is the last point, is that more sort of understanding, more communication, more sort of exchanges will help, will serve not in the beginning, but it will help our foreign friends to have a better understanding what happened. What constitute the factors constitute these living habits, the traditions, but most importantly the values. And I think these important, culture that behind, that is the most important thing, which I believe more needed in terms of a better communication, better understanding, and objective sort of understanding of China, and for the Chinese, the outside world.
Rong Ying, you have brought out a very important word. While we're welcoming becoming Chinese, let's not fall victim to the same old stereotyping of China. Warm water, baduanjing, or drinking soup and changing slipper, they don't define Chinese culture. China is very much different, and there are 1,000,000,000 ways of living the Chinese life. But let me come back finally to Asma once again. Compared to the perception of China in your home country, Tunisia, or in that part of the world, what more do you think can be done? What do you think is the most important thing? Yeah, from your perspective.
I think that comparing to my country, we still not have the same habits here in China. But as a Tunisian foreigners here who lived a long time in China, so I want to adopt these habits. So I can bring good things to Tunisia, for example, hot water, back to hot water, and like the family value, because we are
But
Arab
don't we
people. We
share
really
that? Don't we share something in common in terms of family value? I mean, I don't have much time, but really I'm curious out of this.
Yes, of course. As an Arab peoples, like we really have the like family value, which means like respect your grandmother, father, your parents, listen to them. Even if there is like an event or there is like a festival, something, all of Tunisian back to their hometown to celebrate. Like Chinese people, now we will celebrate for the 20th. All the Chinese people excited to back to their hometown to live with their grandmother, grandfather, to celebrate together,
Yeah.
to make this festival more value, to know and to appreciate that you have like a family, to eat with them, to have fun with them.
Yeah.
So this is, we can like compare it to Tunisia. Yes, this we really have this stuff. So we really have the family value. We really appreciate that I have a family surrounded by me with their love,
Yeah.
with their care. So yes, this is, it's really common here in China.
So by that, I actually want to say there are, of course, things that are uniquely Chinese, but deep down, we're very similar. And Jerry, I want to come back to you. I give you 1 minute to sum up what we're seeing here. Is this part of a new fad? Is it part of just, a short-lived thing? Or is it a new trend? If so, what is it? 1 minute, please.
I think it's been here for a very long time. We disguised it a lot. Hollywood would say, here's Bruce Lee, but he's from Hong Kong. He's not from China. And that's now changing. We had a lot of things coming from Japan, which are actually Chinese. So now we're recognizing the source of that culture. And I would say, adding on to what Asma just said, individually and collectively, China and the West are very, very different. I come from the UK. Spent a lot of time in Australia. We have a very individual focus, whereas here in China, we have a very communal family focus. So I would say to anybody who's interested in learning more, you can either come now or come digitally if you can't afford to come. So it is now so much easier to establish the truth. 1 minute.
Come now or come digitally? I'm going to, that sentence is going to ring in my mind, but thank you so much. That's so well put. Many thanks to my guest, Asma Darwish, Tunisian host and journalist of China Arab TV, Jerry Gray, Australian social media influencer, Ekaterina Kaligaiva, Belarusian social media influencer, and Rong Ying, senior research fellow at the China Institute of International Studies. We don't have enough time for this topic, but many thanks for your wonderful insights and stories. And with that, we come to the end of this very interesting edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, coming to you from Beijing. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and X using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. You've got the point. Come to China or come digitally. Remember that.